Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 0. 11 wins in 17 Premier League games for Professor Unai Emery. And with Brighton losing today, it also means that Aston Villa have moved up to 6th in the Premier League. We are 6th. I mean, when Steven Gerrard masterminded our 3-0 loss to Fulham at Craven Cottage earlier this season, and when he masterminded a whole load of games where all of our players looked like they didn't know what they were doing because they were badly coached and kind of passed the buck on to the players that it was somehow their fault, did you ever imagine that Villa would ever get anywhere close to 6th? I mean, I've been saying all season, since Emery came in, that I would be happy with top half, right? Because Villa have not been in the top half for more than a decade now. And making it into the top half would have been an excellent achievement by Unai Emery, given where we were when he took over in October. We are now 6th in the Premier League. And we've just won a game 2-0 against Nottingham Forest that really made me think back on games of previous years where, Villa would play somebody like Watford at home, right? And I think back on that game last season. We played Watford, had loads of possession, but didn't do anything with it. It was just passive. Nothing happened. And eventually Watford broke away, sent the ball into the box, and I think it was Emmanuel Dennis who scored for them to make it 1-0. And that's a game that I look back on and think that is symptomatic of a lot that was wrong under the Gerrard era. It's also symbolic of kind of what Villa were a bit like for a long time, right? We just wouldn't get the job done in games at home where you think Villa should get the job done. Now we play Nottingham Forest, who, in fairness to them, in the first half were very compact, defended very tight, made it really hard for our front attacking players to really get into the game at all. I don't think anyone really was capable of doing that in the final third in the first half, other than that one occasion when Leon Bailey burst away and did his hamstring. We didn't really look like we were doing anything in the final third. And also, they were smart in having the two number 10s. It looked like Danilo and Morgan Gibbs-White were just sat on John McGinn and Douglas Luiz. So the fact was, it was very difficult for us, for the central area, to get playing with the ball at all. And watching that, I did think to myself, how have Forest got such an abject away record when actually defensively they look pretty solid? And in fairness, Felipe, I thought, was pretty excellent for them in central defence, made it hard for Watkins all day. More on that in a sec. But second half, Villa just found a way to score. They just found a way. And that inevitably came down the wide area, because that was really the only place we were getting any joy going forward against Forest. And lovely ball by Ashley Young, the evergreen Ashley Young. Tricky Traore, bit of skill, ball into the box, and then John Joe Shelvey passes it straight to him. Lovely snapped, curled finish into the bottom corner. And the fact is that Tricky Traore, I call him Tricky, it's pretty cool. I think of the Run DMC song every time I think of him. It's Tricky, and he's so good on his day. But he was sent off by Gerrard off to, Turkey. Told you what, you're not wanted here. There's nothing for you here. And Unai Emery has got every single player believing and wanting to play, and everybody gets an opportunity. And Traore was recalled, and it's proven to be a masterstroke because we now have 6 extra points because Traore is now here. And if Bailey had got injured and Traore wasn't here, who would come on in his place? Nobody. What I do like as well is that 2 games in a row, opposition midfielders, for some reason, have provided assists to Traore to do exactly the same thing, curving left foot. It was Ndidi for Leicester, and now it was John Joe Shelvey for Forest. And Shelvey, who I thought could have had a red card because there was a couple of nasty fouls he did. In fact, I thought Forest made quite a few nasty fouls. The one on the end on Traore by their fullback. One on McGinn as well that I thought was pretty nasty. A few bad challenges in there, and it's... I think Forest got away with it a little bit with the physicality. But No, Villa were patient. We got that goal by going down the width. And yes, thank you to the opposition midfielders for once again providing an assist to the great Bertie Traore, who just is finding his form. Then you would say that Forest got into the game a bit more. I think that Nico Williams outright was finding a bit of space and was causing a few problems after the goal. And it felt like Forest actually reacted quite well to it, though they never really created a clear-cut chance, did they? And something to remember is Villa gave away 8 corners today, right? 8 corners. Earlier this season, if Villa give away 8 corners, we are not going to stop the opposition scoring a goal. We just wouldn't. But there wasn't a single occasion today where I thought Villa looked panicked at all defending a set piece. Not one that I can think of. So you can see that the improvement in the sense we're more patient, we eventually get that goal, we work out where the weak areas are of the opposition and we expose it. And then when we have to defend corners, we defend them well enough, because earlier this season, if you remember, right from the start, when we played Bournemouth on the first day of the season and they scored within a minute from a corner, we just couldn't seem to defend at all. So that's an improvement. And then on top of that, I thought Ollie Watkins had a tough day today, right? He's been in fantastic form recently. I think he had a tough day playing against Felipe particularly. But the sign of a great striker is you wait right until the last second, because you never know when that chance is going to come, right? And even if it isn't your day, the chance might still arrive. And when it does arrive, you got to take it. And the way Watkins, and by the way, well done to Bertie Traore, taking it on his left, looking in, finding the ball to Ollie Watkins, who's in acres of space. For once in the game, found acres of space. Watkins not just going for the shot and hitting it off the Forest defender, waiting, patient, passes it to Ramsey. Ramsey again himself, who was a bit off today as well, still gets an assist because nice pass to Watkins. And Watkins, this is the form he's in right now. Intelligent player. Waits for the pass, sells Felipe. Finally, after a tough back and forth, a Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant of a match today between the two of them, he finally lifts the Giant over his shoulder and dumps him down. And then finds the space. And you know what? The goalkeeper's rushing at you. Defenders are coming into you. And to keep the calmness, to not just whack it against the goalkeeper, which is what 99% of human beings would do, so just lift it to make it 9 goals in 11 games. Ollie Watkins, give him the contract he wants. All the talk about the contracts is England should call him. He has to be in the England team. And, you know, I remember when I said about Watkins, when I talked to the Arsenal fan group a year ago, Arseblog, not Arsenal Fan TV, Arseblog, the actual, you know, a more better known one, I guess. I said to them, I thought Watkins was a player who could play for somebody like Arsenal. And there was a period of time then when I lost faith in my own thinking, because I thought he lost consistency. And you look back on it, you think, well, it's the way we were playing. You know, the two up front, the coaching wasn't right. The Danny Ings thing was a weird message sent by the club to him. And finally, he's back to being the number one and continuing to grow. And now he just looks like an absolutely fantastic striker who you just think is going to score all the time. So Villa fought right into the end. And in a game that in the past would have drawn 0-0, maybe conceded a stupid goal or maybe even lost, instead, we win comfortably 2-0. Now, we need to be critical. We're Professor Unai, the all-seeing eye, like Sauron in Lord of the Rings, except I guess he's the all-seeing eye, except if Sauron wasn't evil, right? Professor Unai, he's the good. I love the man. I'm building an altar to him. I'm getting a tattoo of him on my face. I'm writing poetry to him as we speak. Unai, you are the apple of my eye. I'll continue that one. You can see him shouting on the sidelines, the demanding. And I'd imagine he'd say after that game that we gave Forest a little bit too much time to believe that they could stay in the game. We didn't kill them off soon enough. Maybe we were just a little bit too laconic at times. I love the fact that we are patient on the ball, particularly at the back. I love the fact that we just build up. Other teams don't yet seem to have adapted to playing against that and haven't quite worked it out. Newcastle next week is the acid test, I think, for a team that might cause us some problems, but that's for another time. But today, I think that you could compare it to the Crystal Palace game where Villa in both games were well on top, but maybe just took a little too long to get the killer goal. And maybe Professor Unai might raise that as an issue. But look, ultimately, Villa got the win. And I know there were a lot of great YouTubers there today. The Holy Trinity show, I think, is brilliant. He was there today. Rick Leon from the AVFC California Lions, I believe, was there. Neil Dunworth from For the Liverpool McGrath, Paddy from For the Liverpool McGrath. They're all there. All the great people there. Prince William was there as well. Christian Perslow and Prince William having a bit of banter up there. So it was great to have all those people there today, to have just a great time to watch the game and see a good solid win and see an Aston Villa that now you're just thinking every game you're going into it and thinking, I think we're just going to get the job done. I just think we're going to get the job done. Now, I made a couple of notes. What else would I say? I think, what else would I say? Coutinho. I think he might have been useful today. Coutinho, I think he's, I'm not sure he was the greatest purchase personally, looking back on it, but I think today he could have come in handy as an extra option, maybe someone who could have pulled Forest apart between the lines a little bit. But you can't really be too critical. Villa just solid again. The defence was largely solid. Forest themselves, I thought, were disappointing. Didn't really offer anything, and I think it's going to be tough for them to stay up now this season. I hope they do. I do like Forest. I think they're a historic name, and I think it's good to have them in the Premier League. But we'll just have to wait and see how they do. It's tough down there at the bottom at the moment. But hey, Newcastle next. What do you think? Comment down below. Subscribe, please. Let me know what you thought of the Aston Villa win against Forest. Let me know what you think about Nottingham Forest. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcasts. We're all on all the audio podcasts. We do some episodes that don't feature on YouTube. So look, get on board with that. We're going to have our audio podcast out later. So hey, look, Aston Villa win again. Professor Unai. Prince William should be marching down to that dressing room right now to knight the man. He probably has. He's probably doing it as we speak. We'll probably find out that on BBC Breaking News later that it's now Sir Unai of House Emery. And by goodness, doesn't he deserve it? So, hey, look, it's a good time to be a Villa fan. Let's keep it going. Up the Villa.